Part 1, The Broken Car. It was late afternoon on a suburban Phoenix street, the last rays of the sun tinting the hot asphalt of golden yellow after a long, sweltering day. The Westdale neighborhood is one of the city's older areas, with small houses that have stood for decades and mom-and-pop shops that have seen their prime. Amid the faded shopfronts and old signs, there was a small auto repair shop with a simple sign, Garage Miguel, all kinds of auto repair. Miguel Ramirez, 32, was bent over the engine compartment of an old Toyota, his calloused, grease-stained hands deftly working on the mechanical parts. With his short black hair and lean face lined with premature frowns from concentration, Miguel was the embodiment of diligence and perseverance. His old t-shirt, faded and stained with grease, bore the logo of a local trade school where he had learned to be an auto mechanic a decade earlier. This small garage is all Miguel has after years of working. It's a modest space with 2 car lifts, a small office in the back, and a simple waiting area for customers. Every tool in the garage shows signs of regular use, but is well maintained, from the wrenches and pliers to the old diagnostic equipment he saved up for months to buy. Miguel's repair shop isn't a destination for luxury cars or wealthy customers, but rather a place where working-class people in the neighborhood come to bring their cars. He has a reputation for honesty and good workmanship, but the remote location and simple facilities keep business at a bare-bones level. Miguel wipes sweat from his brow as he hears a car engine malfunctioning on the driveway. He looks up and sees a white Tesla Model S trying to pull into the parking lot in front of the garage, its electric motor making an unusual whirring sound. It was an out-of-place sight for the neighborhood, a $100,000 plus luxury car among the aging vehicles that were routinely repaired here. The Tesla door opened and a woman stepped out, looking visibly flustered. Olivia Chen, 35, with her long black hair tied back and dressed in a smart light gray business suit, exuded professionalism and confidence. The Apple Watch on her wrist and her expensive leather handbag added to the contrast with her surroundings. "Hello," she called, her voice clear and confident but tinged with worry. "I think there's a problem with my car. I was on my way to an important meeting when it started making strange noises and giving me a battery warning." Miguel wiped his hands on a dirty towel and stepped forward, his eyes quickly assessing the car. He rarely had the opportunity to work with such high-end electric vehicles. "Can I take a look?" he asked, his voice soft with a slight Spanish accent. Olivia nodded, a look of surprise in her eyes, perhaps due to Miguel's casual appearance or the garage's modest facilities. "Thanks," she replied. "I really need to get to that meeting as soon as possible. I could call Tesla Towing, but they said it would take at least 2 hours to get there." Miguel nodded in understanding. "Let me take a quick look and see if there's anything I can do. Sometimes small problems can be fixed right away." He inspected the car carefully, plugging his diagnostic tool into the car's OBD port. Though his tool was quite old, he kept his software up to date, an investment he considered necessary in an age of rapidly advancing automotive technology. While Miguel worked, Olivia stood nearby, constantly checking her watch and her phone. She watched Miguel work, careful, methodical, and respectful of the expensive car, not rushed or unprofessional as she had initially feared. "I figured it out," Miguel finally said, his voice calm. "There's a bug in the battery management system. It's not serious, but the system is operating in safe mode to prevent further damage. I can reboot the system and calibrate a few parameters so you can get to your meeting. After that, you should take the car to an authorized service center for a more thorough check." Olivia looked at him with undisguised surprise. "You know how to fix a Tesla?" Miguel smiled modestly. "I try to learn about all kinds of cars. Electric cars are becoming more popular. I've taken some online courses on them." What he didn't say was that those courses had cost him a large portion of his meager savings, an investment he hoped would help his small garage stay competitive in the future. For the next 20 minutes, Miguel worked with concentration, his fingers moving deftly across the diagnostics keyboard, occasionally disappearing under the car to check connections. Finally, the strange noises were gone, and the warning lights on the dashboard went out. "I've rebooted the system and calibrated some parameters," he explained. "The car is drivable now, but this is only a temporary fix. You should take it to a Tesla service center within a week. Olivia breathed a sigh of relief. Thank you so much. You have no idea how much this means to me. She took out her wallet. How much do I owe you? Miguel shook his head. No need. It only took a little time and I didn't have to replace any parts. But you saved my meeting, Olivia insisted. At least let me pay you. Not really, Miguel insisted, though he knew every penny counted for his current financial situation. The rent had gone up this month, and he was struggling to pay the bills. Maybe someday you can help someone else in need. Olivia looked at him intently, as if trying to understand him. After a moment's hesitation, she nodded. Thank you very much. My name is Olivia. She held out her hand. Miguel, he replied, carefully wiping his hands on a towel before shaking hers. Glad to be of help. As Olivia drove away, she glanced in the rearview mirror and saw Miguel returning to his old Toyota. There was something about the man, his sincerity and his skill, that she couldn't help but be impressed with. What Miguel didn't know was that Olivia wasn't just a regular client rushing to a meeting. She is Olivia Chen, CEO of TechDrive Innovations, one of the fastest-growing automotive technology companies in the Southwest United States, with an estimated personal net worth of over $200 million. Part 2, The Fateful Encounter. A week later, as Miguel was closing up the garage at the end of the day, a luxury SUV pulled up in front of the door. He was surprised to see Olivia step out, this time in a more casual outfit, jeans, a simple white shirt, and a light jacket. Hello, she smiled. I hope you don't mind my unannounced drop-in. Miguel looked at her in surprise. It's fine. Any other problems with the Tesla? No, the car was running perfectly. The technicians at the Tesla service center were impressed with the way you handled the problem. She smiled. Actually, I came here for another reason. Do you have time for coffee? I wanted to talk to you about something. Curiosity overcoming the fatigue of a long day at work, Miguel nodded. There's a coffee shop around the corner. They're closed late. They entered the small cafe, with its warm lights and the delicious smell of baked goods. After ordering drinks, they sat down in a quiet corner. First of all, I owe you an explanation, Olivia began. I'm not just a regular customer. I'm the CEO of TechDrive Innovations. Miguel looked at her, confused. TechDrive? The company that develops autonomous driving systems and electric vehicle technology? Olivia nodded. Yes. We also make diagnostic software and components from many major automakers. She paused, watching his reaction. Last week, I was on my way to an important meeting with a potential partner when the car broke down. I see, Miguel nodded, still unsure where this conversation was headed. What impressed me was not just how well you were able to fix the car, but also how you did it and your attitude, Olivia continued. I asked the technicians at the service center, and they said that what you did required in-depth knowledge of Tesla systems, and even some of the new technicians couldn't handle it that well. Miguel smiled modestly. I was just lucky to have the right tools and read about the same problem on an online forum. No, it wasn't just luck, Olivia insisted. It was talent, diligence, and passion for your work. Also, you refused to accept money even though it was obvious your garage could benefit from the extra income. Miguel shrugged, a little embarrassed by the compliment. That's just how I work. And that's exactly why I'm here, Olivia continued, her tone becoming more serious. TechDrive is expanding our technical services division. We're looking for people with expertise in both traditional and electric vehicles to train the next generation of technicians. Would you be interested in a position with us? Miguel looked at her in surprise. I'm not sure I understand. Are you offering me a job? The first part of an opportunity, Olivia corrected. We can provide you with advanced training, certification, and experience working with the most advanced automotive technologies. Then, depending on your performance and desires, it could be a permanent position or even help you expand your garage. Miguel looked down at his coffee, his mind trying to process this information. Why me? Surely you have better educated candidates with more experience with modern technology. Because what I can't teach, Olivia said, her eyes sincere. I can't teach someone integrity, work ethic, or a true passion for their craft. You demonstrated all of that in just one short meeting. The other things, a degree, technical knowledge, can be learned. And I checked, you've kept yourself updated on new technology despite not having many resources. Miguel looked at Olivia, unsure of what to say. This was an opportunity he'd never dreamed of, but he had his concerns, too. My garage, he hesitated. I have customers who've trusted me for years. They depend on my affordable service. Olivia nodded in understanding. I respect that. That's why I'm talking about the possibility of supporting your garage expansion later. But first, I think you deserve access to training and technology that you don't have access to right now. Think of it as an investment, not just for TechDrive, but for your future and your customers. Miguel thought for a moment. I need time to consider this. It's a big decision. Of course, Olivia replied, handing him a business card. Think about it. Here's my contact information. And year. She pulled a tablet from her bag and opened a document. Here are the details of the program, including compensation. I think you'll find it very appealing. Miguel scanned the information, trying not to show his surprise when he saw the proposed figure, 3 times his current salary, plus a host of other benefits. Thank you for the opportunity, he said, his voice sincere. I will seriously consider it. As they parted, Olivia shook his hand again. I hope to hear from you soon, Miguel. Sometimes opportunities come from the most unexpected places, and I believe we can both learn from each other. On the way home to the small apartment he shared with his sister and 2 nieces, Miguel couldn't stop thinking about this fateful meeting. Was this the life-changing opportunity he had always dreamed of, or would he lose something important if he gave up his independent path? Part 3, Decisions and Challenges. A week after meeting Olivia, Miguel was still considering the offer. He had discussed it with his sister, Elena, who had been his emotional support since their parents had died years ago. You're overthinking it, Elena said as she folded laundry in their small apartment. Her 2 children, Isabella, 10, and Marco, 8, were doing homework at the dining table. This is the opportunity I've been waiting for. I've worked hard to become the best mechanic I can be, and now someone else has seen it. But the garage? Miguel sighed. It's everything I've built. And it's still there, Elena said softly. I'm not selling it, just putting it on hold. If things don't work out with my new job, I can always come back. But I'll come back with new knowledge and experience. Miguel nodded, knowing his sister was right. He looked at his 2 grandchildren, knowing that part of his responsibility was to help pay for their education. With this new income, he could ensure they had better opportunities to learn. The next morning, he called Olivia and accepted the offer. 2 weeks later, he started his new job at TechDrive's Technical Training Center. On his first day at TechDrive, Miguel couldn't help but feel a little lost. The modern building with its glass and steel, sophisticated security system, and expensive concept cars in the main lobby seemed like it belonged in a different world than his small garage. He wondered if he really fit in here. Olivia personally greeted him and introduced him to James Thompson, the technical training director, a middle-aged man with salt and pepper hair and thick-rimmed glasses. Unlike Olivia's warmth, Thompson looked at Miguel with undisguised suspicion. So you're the local mechanic Olivia found, Thompson said, not really a question. I hope you're ready for a crash course in modern technology. We don't have much time to cover the basics. Miguel nodded, determined not to let the words dampen his enthusiasm. I'm a quick learner and willing to work hard. You'll need that, Thompson replied curtly before handing Miguel off to a mentor. The first few weeks were a challenge. Miguel had to get used to new technology, advanced diagnostic software, and work processes that were far removed from the way he'd always done things in his small garage. Some of his coworkers, especially those with formal degrees from prestigious technical schools, couldn't help but be skeptical that a street mechanic like him had landed such a coveted position. But Miguel worked doubly hard to prove himself. He was often the first to arrive and the last to leave, spending his evenings learning more about the technologies he wasn't familiar with. More importantly, when faced with real-world problems on the car, his diagnostic and troubleshooting skills, honed over years of problem-solving with limited resources, really shined. After 3 months, he earned his first certification in the program and began to earn the respect of his peers. But Thompson remained skeptical, examining Miguel's work more closely than the others and quickly pointing out the smallest flaws. One day, Miguel was given a special challenge, to find and fix a persistent bug in an electric vehicle prototype that the engineering team had been trying to fix for days. It seemed like a test designed to fail. "You have 4 hours, Thompson said, clearly not expecting Miguel to succeed. Miguel said nothing, just nodded and got to work. He used all his newfound knowledge, combined with his intuition and real-world experience. Instead of relying solely on advanced diagnostic software like others did, he listened, felt, and approached the problem the old-fashioned ways, learning when the car was